Now, digital marketing media planning is one of the most important topics for people who are looking forward to become a digital marketer. In fact, if you are thinking about getting into a job, then the first thing that interviewer will ask you is to check if you know how to make a plan for the project. Now, the reason why it's important is because in media planning, we start with deciding the platforms for that particular project. We also decide how many campaigns or what kind of campaigns we're going to run throughout the month. We decide the placement, ad types, target audiences, click types, and also what is the cost that we are spending for each and every campaign. We also get the total number of impressions, which means how many people are going to see our ad throughout the month. And finally, we talk about generating the sales for that project. So without a media plan, we just don't know what exactly we are expecting out of this project. So media planning is like a navigation plan. It's like a blueprint which tells us what all campaigns we are going to run for that particular project. In fact, once you have the media planning ready, it's a complete strategy for that month. Once you have this plan, all you have to do is to simply launch all these campaigns one by one. So without a media plan, you cannot simply launch campaigns. You cannot simply manage the project for those accounts. Now, the media planning starts with all of these numbers. So we have to pull out the numbers for each and every campaign. So let's start from the scratch by removing all of these figures from the sheet. So we start from the very scratch. Now, the first thing that we do in the media plan after deciding the platforms is to decide the campaign types. Now, this project, this media plan is for a project which is a artificial jewelry store. This is for springtails.shop. Now, for this website, we are going to make a media plan for branding and sales as the marketing objective. Now, just because it has branding and sales, it means we have to keep the branding and sales campaigns. So here we keep 2 branding campaigns and 4 sales campaigns for Google and 1 branding campaign and 5 sales campaign for Meta. Not only that, we also have to look into one of the main parameters, which is all about how to find out the further campaign types. Now, this is a product based business. Again, it's very important to understand if it's a product based or a service based business, because the campaigns for products and service are going to be far different than each other. For product based businesses, we'll be having campaigns like search, shopping, performance max, and dynamic remarketing to generate sales. For a service based business, we have search and normal remarketing campaign in general. So now, as it's a project based business, we are going with all of these 4 campaigns for sales and 2 campaigns for branding for Google as a platform. For Meta, we are going with traffic as the main like traffic generator. Then we have conversion, product catalog, lookalike, and remarketing campaign. Now, once we are set with the campaigns, we can write down the placements, which means display campaign is going to show the ads on Google Display Network, video on YouTube, search and Google search, shopping on Google search and shopping partners, and Meta campaign are going to be showing up on Facebook and Instagram as portals. The ad types are going to be banners, videos, text, creatives, and product ads. Target audience is something which we can simply pick from the project planning sheet, which is Delhi and NCR, and then we have to pull and provide all of these numbers. Now, what you simply have to do, first of all, let's decide the cost. Cost bifurcation is the most important part for making the media plan. So in total, we have the cost of 30,000 rupees. I'm sorry. This is something which we have added in our project planning sheet. So I can simply copy this amount, 30,000, and add it into the media planning sheet. Now, how do we add 30,000 rupees? Now, Google is always expensive than Meta. So what you can do, you can think about adding more budget, giving more budget to Google and lesser to Meta. So we can think about getting 2/3 of the amount to Google, and we can keep 1/3 with Meta, which means we are talking about spending 20,000 on Google and 10,000 over Meta. Now again, how do we bifurcate these 20,000 rupees? So let's say we start with display. Display and video are the cheaper campaigns. So let's say we go with 1,000 rupees of budget for display campaign, 1,000 for a video campaign. For search, we go with somewhere around, let's say, 4,000 rupees. For shopping, we go with the same amount. For performance max, we go somewhere with 2,000 rupees, let's say. And for dynamic remarketing is always going to be, now remarketing campaigns means We're going to show the ads to people who have already come on the website. So remarketing should be having a budget of around 5 to 10% only, which means we are talking about giving 1000 rupees to the remarketing campaign. Now this totals around 13,000 rupees, which means we have additional 7,000 rupees of budgets. So what we can do, we can simply increase the budget for search campaign, and search campaign goes to 6,000, shopping campaign goes to 6,000, and the performance max also goes to somewhere around 4,000 rupees. That's fine. And we can give the additional 1,000 rupees to the performance max campaign, let's say. Cool. Now, what we have to do, we have to simply give the remaining 10,000 rupees to the meta campaigns. So for awareness and branding, we go with 1,000 rupees. For traffic, we go with somewhere around 2,000 rupees. For conversion, product catalog, and lookalike campaign, we go with the similar amounts. In fact, for lookalike, it's going to be lesser than, should be lesser than 2,000 rupees, because lookalike is going to show the ads to people who are similar to the remarketing list, who are similar to the people who are coming on the website, actually, who are coming on the website through Facebook ads. Then we have something which is called as, okay, so we still have 1,000 rupees remaining, which we can simply add to the conversion campaign. Perfect. So that's how we have bifurcated 30,000 rupees in different campaigns. Now we simply have to start providing the bidding amounts. Now bidding is something which we have taken out in our keyword planning sheet. So we had this low bidding range of 3 rupees and 22 rupees as the high top of the page bidding amount. We can go with taking the average of these two numbers, which is going to come somewhere around 12.5 rupees. So we are going with somewhere around 12 rupees as the bidding amount for a search campaign. Now, clicks are going to be equal to cost divided by average bidding amount. So we are talking about generating 500 clicks where the cost per click is around 12 rupees after spending 6,000 rupees for the search campaign. Now for a display and video, we have to also add the average bidding amounts. Now the only problem is that we don't have any tool such as Keyword Planner tool for all the remaining campaigns. For search, we already had this Keyword Planner tool through which we have taken these bidding amounts. And then we got these bidding amounts from the Keyword Planner tool. But for a display campaign, video campaign, shopping, and performance max campaign, we just don't have all of these tools. So what we have to do, we simply have to add the bidding average amount through the previous accounts that you have worked upon, or maybe through your experience. Now, what I have seen, or what I know, is that we can easily get a click from display campaign at the cost of 0.50. So we are going with this amount as the average bidding amount for a display campaign. For video campaign, we get a view at the cost of 0.5. Again, this is going to be very similar to what we are getting in display campaign. For shopping, we get a click at the cost of around 8. For performance max, we get at around 4. For dynamic remarketing, this stays around 2 as the average bidding amount. For meta, awareness campaign generates traffic to us at the cost of 5 rupees as the average bidding amount. Traffic is slightly higher than awareness. Conversion is going to be way higher than traffic. Product catalog stays around 7. For lookalike, it stays around 7. And remarketing, this stays around 8. So that's how we have added the bidding amounts for different campaigns. Again, these numbers are not assumptions. This is something which we have taken from the previous ad accounts. If you don't know, I can show you the one of the accounts. So let's say this account, I can show you what is the average conversion. It is something which we'll talk about later, but average CPC is something, this is 25 for the search campaigns. I'll show you some other accounts maybe in the later video, so I can tell you how exactly you can get these bidding amounts. But for now, at least you have to rely upon these numbers. Now, in order to find the average number of clicks, you simply have to give is equal to sign cost divided by the average bidding amount. So we simply have to copy and paste these numbers in different cells. So now in this media plan, we are talking about generating around 8,462 clicks or views together. Now, the second parameter is find out the ad visibility, and the third parameter is finding out the conversion of the sales number. Now, the biggest parameter or the important parameter of ad visibility is CTR, which means click through rate. Again, we start with search. So in this search campaign, I can show that the average amount of bidding is staying around 3.79 for last 30 days. But for overall numbers, this campaign generates the average CTR of around 4.61%, and the second one is generating the CTR of around 10%, which means for search campaigns, we get a CTR in between 5 to 10%. If you are bidding very high amount, you can expect higher CTR. If you are bidding lower amount, which means your ads is going to be placed in the lesser positions, because bidding is the main parameter of the ad ranking. So we go with the CTR of around 6% for a search campaign. Lesser CTR means lesser average bidding, because CTR is the prime parameter of getting click on your ad copy. Now, for shopping, we have a CTR of around 8%. This is still higher than search. For Performance Max, we get a CTR of around 2%. Dynamic remarketing stays around 1%. And for branding and video, for display, we get a very lesser CTR, which stays around 1%. For video, the objective is not to get clicks. That's why it stays lesser than even display. This stays only at around 0.50%. Now, for Meta, for awareness, we don't have to. Okay, I'm sorry. For awareness, we get a CTR of around for 2%. In fact, for most of the campaigns in Meta, the CTR stays around 2% only. Now, how do you find out the impressions? Impression means how many people are looking at your ad. What are the total number of views at your ad copy? Where the CTR was the click-through rate. The click rate on these impressions. Now we simply have this formula, which is called as CTR formula. This is equal to clicks divided by impressions into 100. So click rate means the rate of clicks on the total number of impressions. That's why it becomes clicks upon CTR. I'm sorry, clicks upon impression into 100. Then the impression formula will become is equal to clicks divided by CTR into 100. We simply exchange these numbers using simple maths. Now, impressions means total number of views is equal to clicks divided by CTR. Now, we already have this percentage sign. That's why we don't have to multiply it by 100. So we simply get these numbers. And what we are doing is simply copying all the numbers from the cells. So we are talking about generating 8 lakh impressions after spending 30,000 rupees in a month. Now, conversion rate is something which is called as the rate of sales. So how many sales you are generating out of the total number of traffic. So if you are talking about generating 2% sales from a search campaign, then we are saying out of 500 people who are coming on the website, 2% people are purchasing the items. So conversion rate means the total number of sales out of 100 numbers normally. And if I walk you through the conversion rate of a search campaign, which means for this account, we get a conversion rate of around 8%. Now, this is a service-based business. Service-based business means people will be landing on the website and they will simply be filling out the inquiry form. But when it comes to product-based business, the same people have to make the purchase by placing an order and also by paying some amount through a payment gateway or through cash on delivery. Now in India, it's always recommended that you have this COD order option. Otherwise, people simply do not buy the product. Even if you look at the major shopping portals like Amazon or Myntra, they'll also be providing the COD options. So thinking about running or winning a project through a prepaid option, which clients will also want, it's not going to work in India. Indian projects, Indian websites always need COD order as of now, cash on delivery. So now for conversion rate for search is very less than conversion rate for service-based business. So for search, it only stays around in between 1 to 2%. So let's see if I go with 2%, this could be a very good conversion rate. This conversion rate is something which we can expect when we have the cash on delivery option on the website. If we don't have the COD option and it's a new brand, if it's a new business, then we can only expect a conversion rate of around 1%. Now the conversion rate for shopping stays somewhere close to the same of search campaign. Performance Max, this stays around 1%. Dynamic remarketing stays around 1% only. Now for display and video, as they are the branding campaigns, we don't have to put any conversion numbers. We don't have any conversion rates over here. So we simply put it NA because these campaigns are the branding campaigns. These are not the conversion or sales based campaigns. For Meta, we are going to go with NA for the awareness campaign. For traffic, the conversion rate stays around somewhere around 1.5%. For conversion campaign, this could go somewhere around 2%. For product catalog, it stays around 1.5%. So, and for lookalike and remarketing, this stays around 1.5, and in fact, it stays around 1% each. Now you must be thinking, how the hell I have added all these numbers? And also how the hell I had added all the CTR numbers. Now, all these numbers are something which I have taken from the previous accounts from my experience, but trust me, these numbers will differ from account to account, project to project, and expert to expert. There's something which I have generated in my previous accounts. If you're talking about a single or a particular account, these numbers will always differ. But all this media planning is just an assumption. It's the projection of what you can expect to generate out of this project. Media planning is not about generating the exact number of sales. Media planning is all about generating the projections. Now, the conversions is equal to, so conversion is the 2% of the entire traffic, which means we are talking about generating 10 sales through search campaign. We simply copy and paste the formula, and we are talking about generating 62 sales in total. The cost per sale is going to be the cost for that particular campaign divided by cost per sale. So this is going to be, divided by total number of sales. So this is equal to cost divided by sales. So we have generated like a sale at the cost of 600 rupees from a search campaign. And then we simply copy and paste the formulas throughout the cells. So now we are talking about generating a sale at the cost of 484 rupees, which is very, very high. And you must be thinking, how the hell you can generate a sale at this high cost? Because even if you go at the website, then you'll find that the average order value was not even 400 rupees. It was only around 300 to 400 rupees. And we are saying we'll be generating a sale at the cost of higher than the product cost, which means it's a complete loss for the project. And your client can say, what the hell you are doing? So we are talking about spending 30,000 rupees as the advertisement cost and talking about generating a revenue of 62 into, let's say the average order value for this website is around 350 rupees. So if we sell 62 items, let's say, we make a revenue of around 20,000 rupees only. So we are not even like generating the cost of the project. The revenue is very, very less. And trust me, this will happen in most of the media plans, and your clients will not like it. Your agencies will not like it. They will always be complaining how the hell you can make a plan where the average, like the cost per sale is going to be lesser than the product, is very higher than the product cost, or the revenue is not even what we are spending. Ideally, the revenue should be going way higher than what you are spending on this project. That's how the project makes the profits. But then when you think about doing the marketing for the very first month, in fact, if you will be doing the marketing for the initial 6 months to 1 year, you'll always find companies spending the heavy amounts in advertisement. Advertisement is not about generating the profits starting from the very first month. When you are thinking about running ads over Google and Meta, you will be spending a lot of money in these platforms. These platforms are very, very expensive. They will not help you to generate profits in the very first month. So what you do, you start adding the services like SEO, where you don't spend the advertisement amount. You start getting traffic from email marketing. You start getting traffic organically, which means through SEO. Again, you start getting direct traffic. You start getting traffic through referrals, and you also getting the repeated orders. Adding all of these numbers in your monthly sales, which means your sales increases in the second month from 62 to somewhere around 100 rupees, 100 sales, which means your overall sales gets increased, and then your revenue also goes up. And then slowly and gradually you start raising these numbers. Also, you have to think about what campaign takes the highest budget. Now, if you can see here, search campaign is giving us the cost per sale at a very high cost. So what we can do, we can simply change the budgets of a search campaign to a shopping campaign if shopping is giving a sale in the lesser cost. In fact, we can go with the meta campaigns. We can go with spending at conversion or the traffic campaign. But the problem is the cost per sale in the very first month is always going to be higher at the project management end. And what you do is simply optimize all of these campaigns one by one. So that's why the optimization of the campaign is the real mastery of becoming a performance marketer. It's the real mastery of becoming an ad expert. So ad expert means you have to turn a losing project, you have to turn a loss-making project into a profitable project. So you have to run this project at least for 6 months to 1 year, and then only you can think about generating some profit out of it. If you are thinking about generating or running the project only for a month, then the chances of developing or generating losses are very, very high. Now, people who are thinking about doing this practical training course, or people who are really getting interested in making the media plan, what I want you to do is to first make a media plan for the project number one, which is a e-commerce store. We are talking about the springtails.shop only, the one that we have discussed so far. What I want you is to make a media plan this time, make a media plan targeting Delhi with search, shopping, and remarketing campaign. If you want, you can add a couple of more campaigns over here. It's totally up to you, but it's required that you make the media plan by yourself. It's highly needed if you are thinking about becoming a digital marketing executive. Second, you start with second project, which is an education-based portal. Here you make a media plan for SAP courses in India. This is something that you do for Meta only. In the third one, you create a media plan for 3 and 4 BHK flats in Mumbai for Meta and Google both. Now, the first one is a e-commerce based project, and the second and third are the education based projects. That's why the campaigns are going to be different. For e-commerce, you'll have to keep campaigns like sales campaigns in Meta. You have to keep shopping campaign, performance max campaign, along with the dynamic remarketing campaign. In the case of service, for Google, you go with search and remarketing campaign majorly. If it's about real estate, then you go with sales and remarketing campaign. There's one very important campaign in Meta that we normally use in service. This is the lead generation campaign. Lead generation campaign. And this campaign allows you to generate a lead within the Facebook ads interface only. Now, people who want to appear for the interviews, I want them to get into this media planning questionnaire sheet, and I want them to answer all of these questions and check out your score so you can see how much you know about media planning now. Now, we have already completed planning videos of this digital marketing project based Google Ads training course. Now we simply have to get into launching the campaigns one by one, starting with search modules, display modules, and further we discuss the different topics and modules of this digital marketing course. I'll probably see you in the next video.